Hello everyone and welcome to my second series of Angular 4, and today we will see uh, how to create an Angular component. In my previous tutorial I have demonstrated how to install Angular 4 and how to write a simple hello world program and how to run it. So today we'll look further inside the components. So if you recap, we have we installed Node.js, then we installed TypeScript compiler. That is done by the npm package manager itself when we install the Angular CLI, and then you can have any one of your favorite editor. Okay, like I am using Visual Studio Code, so you can use either Sublime or any other of your favorite editor. Then we saw how we installed. After installing Node.js, you can just use the command ng. Ng is a command which refers to Angular CLI or Angular command line interface. So through ng we can directly create a project, or you can manually create it also. So it is always advisable that you create it through ng because it does lots of tasks, it automates lots of tasks for you in creating the components, etc. So we created a new project by giving the command ng new and the name of the project. So the name of the project which you gave was, say, hello world, hello-world, and then we press enter, and then it went through the process of creating different files, pulling different dependencies and building the environment. So we already have that set up, so we won't go through this process again. So if you want to revisit this process, then refer to my previous tutorial installing Angular 4 and creating a hello world program. Okay, so here we already have the environment set up, so we won't be going further on that. So if I go to this folder, so inside this Angular 2 folder I had created a project called hello world. Okay, so when I use this ng command to create a project, so it does all the tasks for me. Like you'll see that a node modules folder has been created. Here you have all the dependencies installed when you run that in command, that ng command. And then inside src folder you have an app folder inside which all the components are packaged, as I explained in my previous tutorial. Right, so now let's go straight to the code and let's talk about components. So we already have this code, app.component.ts. ts is a TypeScript format. Okay, so to create a component, the most basic component, we have to import the component from Angular core library. So we have many things inside Angular core, all the core functionality, because see, Angular is developed in modules. All the different features and functionalities of Angular are present as modules. So this way it is more efficient. Like you can only use those modules which is required in your application, in your project. So it has a modular approach, and it also has dependency injection, which we will discuss in later tutorials. So the most simplest one is to have a very simple component, because everything in Angular is developed as a component. Okay, all the views, especially the views you are seeing, is presented as a component. So I am importing this component from Angular core. That is the first line. The first part is the import part. Second part is the decorator part. That is the component using this @ annotation. You have this component decorator, and this component decorator will take an object. Inside the object you have different key value pairs, also known as metadata. So we will study the minimal key value pair, that is selector and template URL and style URL. Okay, and finally the third part is to export this as a class, so that this component can be referred from other component or reused by other component. So you have to export it as a class. Okay, so these are the 3 steps. Import the necessary dependency, that is the component from Angular core, then write the decorator, that is the component decorator giving an annotation, and third part is export this as a class. Fine. So if we go with this default, then we have already seen that after I issue this command of, say, first I have to move to that folder cd hello world, and then I have to issue this command ng serve to start the my local server, and it is a very lightweight server. So let this server start. So meanwhile we can discuss about these decorators. Okay, selector, as I have already discussed in my previous tutorial, selector is your custom tag that you are defining, custom tag. So wherever you place this custom tag AppRoot, you can give it any name. Okay, so AppRoot, if you are giving the name, then inside index.html file which we have over here in the main root, so here you have to refer it using this name only, AppRoot. So you see AppRoot is given over here. Okay, so it will, whenever I am referring this with the custom tag name, then what it will do, so if we come back to this app component, okay, so if selector is AppRoot, then it will display this template. Template is nothing but an HTML file. If I am using template URL, it is referring to the external HTML file. So let me do one thing. Let me first start not with template URL. I can even have a embedded template. Okay, so embedded template I can have. So here I can say h1 slash h1. I'll write a very simple tag. And here I write this variable title. Okay, and for style also, let me not take any URL right now. I can have an embedded style as well, and I can have combination of any. I can have external style and embedded template, or external template and embedded style. Okay, so inside style it will take the value as array, and these array can be different set of styles. So I can write, say, for h1, if I want to style h1, okay, sorry, I have to put it within a string. So within a string I can have different set of styles. Say first set of styles I can have within this string. So h1, then open curly bracket, close curly bracket, and here I can go on giving multiple styles. Okay, sorry. So h1, okay, I should remove that semicolon, that is a mistake. Okay, h1, then say for example I want to change the color of this h1, color colon, and whatever style we give, say red, or you can even give the color code for red, that is ff0000. So this is red. Okay, second style you can say, we don't have a span tag, but let me write a style for span tag. Say I can give over here. So for span tag I can say color colon, say green. Okay, or if you want, you can have it without a style also. I can just have selector and template. Style is optional, I can have it this way also. Okay, so let's see this. Now let's come back and see if the server has started. Okay, the server has started successfully. So open up your browser, open that browser which supports Angular 2. So in my case I am having, sorry, let me close the other windows. I am having this Chrome as my browser which supports, because I have got an outdated version of IE, so I will be using Chrome. So port number, default port number 4200, run it, and we see that app works. Okay, it is red in color, and you see that if we change the title, say hello from base component, I save it, Then you come over, you don't need to refresh it, it will update automatically because it is running in a watch mode. That is just in time compiler, which will see later in later part of in the later videos, in fact not later part of tutorial. Okay, so it is hello from base component, so any value we can give, that value is binded over here. Okay, now if I place a span tag as well over here, say span, okay, and I write this is green text, this is span text, let me write this way, span text slash span. Let's save it, let's come over here. So this span text, okay, somehow the green color has not been applied. Okay, so let us see why. So color we are giving, okay, let us give the color code green. Okay, color code as hash 00 ff00, so in RGB this stands for green. Now let us come and you see that is getting affected. Okay, so you see this decorator, like how we can set different values in the decorator, right? Okay, so I hope this is clear. Okay, so you can go on giving multiple styles. Okay, even you can break into multiple line also. If you want to break it into multiple line, then use this, instead of this quotes you can use this quote, this symbol which is just beside your key 1, numerical key 1, you'll have this. And if I am using this to close it, then you can break it into different lines. If I use that symbol, see, still it will work. So same goes for your HTML also. Say for example you want to break it into different lines, that also you have the flexibility to do so. So here also you don't have to give this single quotes, instead of it use this character instead, this tilted one, and for close also we use that, and then you can have a multi-line template. You can write it in different line and still this should work. Okay, so we come over here and we just check, sorry I clicked this. Okay, it seems some syntax error is there, so let's check out. Where is it? Oh sorry, I have by mistake I have given it over here. It should be over here starting from H1. Okay, so now it is fine, so it should work fine now. Okay, now you see the color for this span is gone, so you can troubleshoot like why it has happened such. So in span I think you don't need to give, here you can have just that single quotes, here we don't have to give that, even without that, even without using that, even with using single quotes it should work. So let's see, because see there was inconsistency, we have given some character over here, some different character over here, so now it should work. Okay, fine. So that anyway you can write in a different line. Only for template, if you want to write in a multiple line, then you use this tilted quotes. Okay, so this is fine. Template we used to set up our like what HTML will be displayed. So template we can have two types, one is the embedded one is the external one. So in the previous tutorial we have seen the external ones. For embedded we use template, for external we use template URL. So same goes for style sheet also. If you want to apply style sheet, you can have embedded style sheet or external style sheet. Okay, so if you want to have an external template, then you can use template URL. Okay, you can use template URL instead of that. So let me now use external template. So I will use template URL now. So this was the embedded one. So the best practice is that if you don't have a very lengthy template, it is better to use an embedded template. Okay, and it will not be safe, you don't have to reuse it. But if it is same kind of view that will be reused across different component, then it is better to have a external template. Okay, So template URL, if we use, see if you are using this editor, that will give you the suggestion also. So if you are using template URL, then I can simply have a URL, external URL. So external URL is this app.component.html that you see over here. So I have to refer to this file. Okay, so come over here and just give app, that is app.component.html. okay, and same for style URL if you want. So as I mentioned, you can even have a mix of it. So let us see it one by one. So now we have an external template using template URL and embedded style. We should be fine. So I save it. So hello from base component. Now span tag is not there in my external HTML. That is why that span is not coming. Okay, and you see whatever style we have applied over here, that is the embedded style, that is getting applied. So you can have a mix of it. No, not a problem. Okay, and if I want to have an external style, then we can simply use style URL, style URLs, okay, which will again take an array. Okay, and inside this array you can have array of URLs, different URLs. So my style URL is nothing but app.component. Either CSS or SCSS. If you are using expressional CSS, you can use .scss, or if you want, you can use a simple CSS file. So I will write app.component.scss. Okay, so now let's come and should again display fine. So in my external CSS, that is SCSS, I can change the colors, and instead of red I can make the text yellow. Okay, and let us see. So it will change to yellow. Okay, so this is the example of a most simple example of a component. So to re-summarize it, there are three parts in a component. First is the import part. You have to import component from Angular core library. Then you have to mention a component decorator, which will actually inform how the component is to be rendered. It will inform the component how it is to be rendered. And inside this decorator, we are using selector property, or a metadata you can say. So selector, we are taking app root. So you can take any name, any custom name. Instead of app root, say I want to have a selector, say for example my own. Okay, say my own selector. So once you do this, you will see that this breaks. Okay, it no more takes, it no more renders it properly. The reason is because the name of the selector has changed. So to rectify it, what you have to do, you have to go to index.html, and over here instead of app root, you have to mention my own. Okay, so same for this closing tag as well. So you can give it any custom name. Okay, so I say my -own. Now save it. Now let us come back, and you see it re-renders. Okay, so you can have any custom name. You can even have more variables bound to it. Okay, so we come back to app component, and the third part is you have to export it as a class. Otherwise, it will not be visible in other components or other files. Okay, so we can take our own new variable now. I mean, we add more variable to it. Initially, we were taking title. So let me take first name, and let us make it public. Though even without making it public, it is still may work in some cases, but still is recommended that whatever you are using the template, it is better to make it public or give some access specifier. So we'll talk more about it later. So I have taken first name and public last name. and I save it. Then I come to HTML, the template, and here I've given each one first name. So I'll write, say hello, curly bracket open, and say space, then curly bracket open and close, and last name. So it will display the value, my first name and last name concatenated with hello, because wherever I am using this double curly bracket or interpolation, which we have discussed in the last tutorial, there it will display the value of this variable, this binded variable. Okay, so it says how are you. Let's save it, and now let's see. So immediately it displays. Okay, so we have seen how to create a simple component, which is the basic building block of any Angular application. So I hope you like this tutorial, and if you have liked it, then please do like the video, and I'll soon come up with my next series of the tutorial and Angular 4. So thank you very much for watching, and bye bye.